Ever heard of the saying, as above, so below, and as it is within, so will be without? I think this should be taken in the most literal sense possible. When we think about our own lives, we're usually looking at what we want to become. We're looking at what we want to achieve, the things that we want to get in life, the items we want to purchase, the places we want to live. It's a very outward perspective. And don't get me wrong, it's totally normal to want things for yourself. It's totally normal to have aspirations, to have dreams, and to almost picture yourself where you want to be, to put yourself in that place mentally so that you could one day achieve what you imagine and what you feel is destined for you. That's all true and right. However, we often neglect that if we are to achieve anything on that level, if we are to actually get the things that we imagine, if we are to become that person that receives and lives life as a reflection of the superstar that you perceive yourself to be, there's an inward work that balances out the outward results to what you want to achieve. And this is why today I wanted to talk about perspective. Often we go through things in life, things that we believe are the most tumultuous things. We go through heartbreaks, we go through accidents, we go through disagreements, betrayal with friends, and we just take that as, wow, life is terrible. Why did this happen to me? How could this happen to me? And if these things so happen to occur in succession, we start to internalize the negativity that's happening around us. We start to believe and perceive that our life is a bad one. We start to think that our circumstances are less than favorable. We start to compare ourselves to others, compare ourselves to even our past, saying that, why is this happening to me now? I don't deserve this. My life wasn't like this when I was doing XYZ. My life wasn't like this when I was around XYZ, but now this is happening to me. Where have I gone wrong? We start to think that things are just not right. But when we get into this mode, into this mentality, the important thing to think about is, what did you ask for? What are the things that you aspire to be originally? What do you want for yourself? What is the grandiose thing that you asked of the universe, of God, to become of you? And look at the problems that you're dealing with in comparison to where you said you wanted to be. Now, if we really think about the problems that we're going through, we'll often come to realize that if we really aspire to be this big representation of life, this ultimate representation of yourself, there are certain sacrifices that needed to happen. There are certain people around you right now that cannot be around the ultimate version of you. There are certain situations that are around you right now that cannot be around the ultimate version of you. There are certain things that you do, there are certain ways that you think that cannot be a part of the ultimate version of you. And in order for you to lose those habits, in order for you to lose those friends, in order for you to lose that way of thinking, traumatic things must happen. There are certain things that have to be stripped from you, and that will cause a shock. If you're used to something, if you're in a comfort zone for so long and something is taken from you, or there's a change that just happens and it is drastic, it will hurt. It will feel different. It will feel disheartening because it's not what you're used to. But just because it's not what you're used to, it doesn't mean that it's not what you need to get to where you want to be. And this is where we talk about perspective. The way you look at your life, the way you analyze things, changes the way you live your life. So let's say two people with the same circumstances are going through the same problem, but one person, we'll call him person A, decides that, you know what, I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep going, and I don't care what's going on, I'm just going to keep going. But person B decides to internalize the problem that happened and just stop and be like, I can't do it. Why is this happening to me? It's not fair. You'll notice that person A is more likely to get to somewhere better in life down the line, as opposed to person B, who's sort of abandoned the mission, because they're going to remain where they quit. At least the person that doesn't quit are going to be a little bit farther than where they were when the problem occurred. If you have big dreams, you are going to come into big failures and big inconveniences, but you have to remember what you asked for. You asked for the big dreams. You asked for something that is for you and just for you. You asked to become the ultimate version of you. And therefore, when life organizes itself and aligns itself to give you the challenges to make you stronger, to build you, to become and live as that life, why complain? Why suddenly forget that you're on a journey? Why suddenly forget what you asked for? Why is it the case that you're not putting two and two together? Why are you not realizing that before you made these big asks, requests, or before you had these big dreams, your life was quote unquote normal? Nothing was going on. Everything was standard. And you wanted something different. You desired more for yourself. And that desire is being responded to. And that's why there's so much change happening in your life. That's why things don't look normal. That's why things are scary. That's why friends are leaving you. That's why you're realizing things that you didn't realize before. And that's why you're feeling all of this pain. I want you to really picture this. Imagine life as a child. Think about yourself as a baby. As a baby, you come out of the womb. The first thing that happens, the baby is crying. The baby's crying, he's bawling. The baby wants something. And eventually the baby gets something. So the baby's crying, the baby gets fed. So now the baby understands that in order to communicate that I want food, I have to cry. So now every time that the baby wants food, the baby's gonna cry. The baby starts to understand that in order to communicate its wants, it has to do an action. So if the baby is too hot, the baby cries, the baby groans, so that someone can realize that it is trying to communicate something. The more that time passes, the more that the baby grows up, is the more that the baby knows how to communicate effectively. Is the more that the baby learns and understands that there are ways to communicate those desires. Because the baby now knows that every time it asks, it receives to some degree or the other. Before the baby came into being, when it was in the womb, it didn't know anything. It didn't know what this world was going to be like. When it was being formed in the womb and it needed food, it just started kicking, and then it got food. It just started kicking, and then it went to sleep, came out of the womb, saw this new world, and did the same thing. Called out, and then received what it was calling out for. Now, that baby grows up to become who we are. We're the baby. But we've learned so much of this world. We become so accustomed to this world that we forgot that we are that baby. We are that baby that did not know where food was coming from. We are that baby that did not know how food was going to materialize. We are that baby that did not know how to communicate our discomfort, but we ended up having and getting all of those things. Yet, now that we're adults or grown folks, we start to forget that element to life. We start to think that we need to know everything before it happens. We need to understand exactly how, where, why. We need to be in total control. But that's not how it ever worked. That's not how it worked when you came to be. You learned this perspective. You learned to look at things in a negative way. You learn to feel bad about the things that are going on around you because you don't remember your connection to the universe. You don't remember your connection to the Most High. You don't remember that when you wanted, you got. You've been confused with this idea of time. You've been confused with the weeks, the days, the months, the years, that you start to forget that that's all irrelevant when it comes to what you deserve and what you are destined to become. The only thing that separates you from where you want to be is the quote-unquote time that it takes to get there. But in between the moment of now and the moment of then, there are all these thoughts because we think we know. And because of this perception of how things should be, we can start to appreciate life a little bit less. Because we start forgetting that what must be will be. And the universe is not in a hurry. You are. It's the reason you're stressed, anxious, worried, tired, because you think you know. You think you have control. And this thought is blocking the vision of greatness. Because we think we know what should happen, we're always annoyed at what does happen. Because we think we know who should be around us, we're always annoyed and frustrated when these people betray us. Because we think we know exactly what should happen and when it should happen, we're frustrated with anything that goes in the opposite direction. And this is what we identify as negativity. And then getting consumed with this idea of negativity strays us from our destiny. So with these examples, we could come to understand that sometimes it's not what we're going through, it's the way that we're looking at what we're going through. We're seeing these troubles that we're going through in life and we're considering it to be the end. We're having a bad day and we internalize it and allow it to become a bad week, a bad month, and even a bad year. Because we're going through something that we think is less than optimal, we start to think that this is our life. You're living in the dark for 3 days, and then you start to believe, oh, well, life is just a dark place. That's not true. You can get out of that dark place. And maybe you need to be in that dark place so that you can appreciate the sun when you do come out of that dark place. How you look at things will change how you appreciate things. By changing the way you look at the negativity that is going on in your life, by changing the way you understand your life journey, you'll start to respect yourself a little bit more and understand yourself a little bit more, because now you know what you can go through and how you went through it. Have you ever heard of the study that was done on people that consider themselves lucky versus people that do not? You can look it up, but to make a long story short, the people that believe they're lucky end up living luckier lives, have a sort of optimism that comes with the acceptance that great things are very possible. They're able to appreciate the nothings. They're able to appreciate the somethings in what appears to be nothings. They're able to take out the highs from the lows that they're going through in their life, and therefore able to be more grateful with their existence versus the people that believe that they're unlucky. They find a negative within every negative. They find a low within every high. They find a low within every low. So bad days are worse, good days are bad, and things just are never exactly what they want it to be, all because of how they're looking at it. So next time you're going through something negative, next time you're feeling down or you're feeling like the world is against you, consider that this is just a moment in your life and it does not have to stop here. The journey continues, but it begins with you and how you think about yourself. Let me know what you think about this so far in the comment section. This inward work is what happens when we go through what we believe is less than ideal. What ends up materializing on the outside for us comes with the changes that happens on the inside. So in order for those changes to begin, in order for this difference of mentality to manifest itself within us, there is going to be a difference with how life interacts with you after you have that big dream. And that is to fortify yourself within so that your life can eventually reflect what you want without. Thank you so much for watching The Uncle Prince Show. Hello, Howell family. I wouldn't say I'm back, but I'm kind of back. If this message resonates with you, please like, comment, subscribe. I'm elated to be speaking to you today. I'm elated to be sharing this message with you today. It's something that really touches me. It's something that really touches me, something that has affected me, and something that I know affects you or has affected you in your lifetime. Thank you so much for listening to this video or watching this video. I appreciate you, and I hope you have an amazing day. Until next time.